Hello, my name is Joseph Priestley, and back in the 18th century, I was absolutely consumed by a question that I felt held the key to understanding life itself. It was all about something we never even think about, do we? The very air we breathe. And it was that single burning question that drove me into my laboratory with a simple glass jar and a candle to conduct an experiment that, well, would change how we see everything. I mean, have you ever just stopped and stared at a flame and really wondered, what's going on there? What gives it life? What allows it to flicker and dance? That's the mystery I had to solve. Now, in my time, most people thought air was, well, nothing, just empty space. But that never sat right with me. I just had this nagging feeling there was something more, some kind of invisible power hiding in plain sight, and I was going to find it. So, into the laboratory I went. I was determined to prove what I just knew was true, that fire, and for that matter life itself, simply could not exist without this invisible stuff in the air. My tools were humble, for sure, but my ambition was, well, it was grand. So, here's what I did. I started by lighting a candle and placing it in a tray with a bit of water. Then, very carefully, I lowered a glass bell jar right over it, trapping that little flame in its own tiny world. And then, all I had to do was watch. And it happened almost immediately. I saw a change. That steady, confident flame. It began to weaken as if it were suddenly struggling for breath inside its glass prison. The flame, once so proud and bright, it started to shrink and flicker, its light casting these eerie, dancing shadows on the glass. Its dance became labored. The light faded to just a dull glow. It was like watching its very life force just drain away. And then, with one final little wisp of smoke, it was gone. The light just vanished, leaving nothing but darkness inside that jar. But just as the flame died, the most curious thing happened. The water from the tray, it started to creep up inside the jar. It was as if it was moving in to take the place of something the fire had used up. It was like the fire had literally eaten a part of the air. In that moment, everything just clicked into place. I mean, think about it. If air were truly empty, that flame would have burned forever, right? The fact that it died meant it had consumed something essential, something that could actually run out. My little experiment had proven it beyond a doubt. A flame's life depends entirely on some special element in the air. Once that element is gone, the flame dies. It was an absolute revelation. I had found it, the vital components of air, the very essence of what makes things burn. Now, it would be named later by others, of course, but I had discovered what you now call oxygen. And that discovery led me to an even deeper question. If this element was essential for fire, what about us? Could it be essential for life too? And I concluded that yes, the very same gas that fuels a flame is the gas we breathe to live. Fire and life are bound together by the very same invisible thread. From that day on, I just couldn't see air as an empty void anymore. It wasn't. It had become something more, something vital. To me, it was the invisible spirit of life itself. In my notebook, I scribbled down my findings. It was so clear. Air isn't empty. It contains a vital element. This element is absolutely necessary for both fire and for life. And in a sealed space, it's finite. When it's used up, life is extinguished. It still gives me a great sense of pride to know that my simple little experiment with a candle and a jar helped set all of humanity on a new path of understanding, forever changing how we see the very air we breathe. So, I'll leave you with this. The next time you see a candle flame, please remember my experiment. Remember that it doesn't burn from wax and wick alone. No, it burns by the grace of the invisible air that surrounds it. And the air that's all around you right now, the air you're breathing in at this very moment, it's not just some gas. It is the breath of the world. It is life itself.